She used to wake up before dawn. Not the girl, her mother. In a faded neon vest and worn gloves, she slipped out the door before the world stirred, sweeping the city's pavements with quiet precision, long before the sun touched the windows. She never asked for recognition. She never received any. Her daughter, Elena, never asked where she went. She already knew and tried to pretend she didn't. Elena was 16, tall, striking, olive skin that glowed golden in summer, chestnut hair that fell down her back like velvet, almond eyes, amber with a hint of fire, always holding a look that said, "Don't you dare." She dressed like she came from another world, thrifted trench coats over crop tops, gold hoops, spotless white sneakers. On Instagram, she posed like royalty. In real life, she moved like she owned the pavement. You'd never guess she lived in a cramped flat above a laundromat, with a mother who cleaned public toilets for a living. At school, when asked about her family, she shrugged. Small business, cleaning stuff. She never said her mother worked minimum wage, that she scrubbed beer-stained stadium steps and wiped down cafeteria floors after the same students who laughed at her accent. Sometimes, when she saw her mother across the street, Elena would turn away. Other times, she lied. One morning, it happened. Her mother, in uniform, was emptying a bin outside the school gates. Elena was just arriving. Their eyes met, just for a second. Elena turned her head. "Hey!"
Isn't that your mom?
A friend asked, smirking. Elena scoffed.
God, no.
"What are you even talking about?" She laughed it off, pushing past them, but her mother had seen. She said nothing that night, but silence can be louder than words. The clip showed her mother. A friend had filmed it, zoomed in, captioned it cruelly. "Imagine if this was your mum." The comments were worse. "This is why I'll never be poor. She looks like she smells." Elena didn't comment, didn't defend. She just stared and scrolled. What she didn't know was that someone else had seen the video too. Her father. He had watched the video in silence. The same man who never raised his voice, who worked double shifts to keep them fed, who once made Elena a desk out of scrap wood when they couldn't afford furniture. He didn't say a word that night, but that silence, it wasn't peace. It was the kind that came before a storm. The next morning, her mother brewed tea, the good kind, the one Elena used to like, with honey. She set it gently on the table beside her daughter and said, "It's still warm. Drink before it gets cold." Elena didn't look up, eyes on her phone. "I'm not thirsty." The tea sat and cooled, just like the space between them. That same day, her mother came home early. She'd stopped by a street vendor to buy a scarf, one that looked like the kind Elena once admired online. Soft, silky, barely affordable, paid for with hours on her feet. She wrapped it in tissue paper and placed it on Elena's desk. Alongside it, a note, scrawled in clumsy handwriting.
"I don't know what you like anymore, but I still wanted to try."
Elena never opened it. She shoved it into the drawer without a word. The distance wasn't loud. There were no screaming matches, no slammed doors, just cold silences, missed dinners, avoided glances. Elena stayed in her room more. The only sound from behind the door, TikToks, music, laughter with strangers. Her father saw it happening, but he was too tired to fix what was breaking. Once, he tried.
Your mom's not made of stone.
He told her quietly. She pulled her hoodie tighter.
Neither am I.
She muttered.
But she treats me like I should be.
At school, Elena wore her defiance like perfume. She laughed loudly, walked like no one could touch her. She was the girl others envied. But under the flawless makeup, under the attitude, was shame. Shame of where she came from. Shame of who loved her. Shame she didn't know how to carry. And shame, left alone too long, always finds a way to explode. It started with small lies. Late-night texts, disappearing weekends, curfews ignored. Her father noticed. He wasn't a man of many words. But that week, he sat her down.
Elena, sit. She didn't want to. You snuck out. Think we didn't notice. She looked away.
He didn't raise his voice.
The makeup. The smell of someone else's cologne. I wasn't born yesterday. No anger. Just disappointment. It cut deeper.
Later that evening, her mother knocked on the door.
"I'm not here to control you.
She whispered.
I just want to know that you're safe."
Click. The sound of the lock turning from inside. That was her answer. By week's end, Elena had skipped school twice. She barely spoke, barely came out of her room. They heard her laughing in there, but never with them. And somewhere in the city, waiting in a parking lot with engine running, was the reason why. His name was Max, 2 years older. Greasy charm. He smoked cheap cigarettes and borrowed his cousin's car. To Elena, he was freedom. One Friday, he leaned in and said, "Come away with me. Just for one night." She hesitated. "If my dad finds out, he won't. Not if you're careful." That was all it took. That night, while her parents slept, Elena tiptoed into the living room. Her mother's purse hung by the door. Inside an envelope marked in blue ink. Rent. Do not touch. She hesitated. heart pounding. Then she opened it, took out just enough. Enough for a hotel room. Enough to disappear for the night. Enough to become someone else. She left without a note, without a word. And when Max pulled up and the city lights swallowed her, she didn't look back. Not even once. The next morning, her mother woke first. She always did. She reached for the purse, planning to pay the landlord early, just to be safe. But the envelope was thinner, too thin. She opened it, silence. Then a sharp inhale, the kind that cracks ribs from the inside. The kind of sound you don't forget. She didn't scream, didn't call out. She just sat down, slowly, staring at the torn adhesive edge like it had betrayed her. Minutes later, her father came in. She looked up at him, not with words, but eyes that pleaded for answers she already knew. He understood immediately. No one had to say it. He stormed toward Alina's room. Knocked once, no answer. Gone. Her phone rang. Then again, then stopped ringing entirely. Her father stood there, holding the phone to his ear, breathing through clenched teeth.
She stole from her mother.
He muttered. From this family, he didn't shout, but every word struck like a blade. Her mother still hadn't moved. She sat on the couch, fingers clutching the scarf she'd bought, the one Alina never opened. The tag was still on it, a tiny plastic string cutting into her thumb. That evening, they didn't speak much. They ate in silence, one plate missing. But in that silence, something hardened. Not hatred, not yet, just the ache of trust, fractured. And when Alina finally returned the next morning, walking in like nothing had happened, they were waiting. She came back just after 9 a.m., hair still neat, eyes tired but guarded. Not a trace of remorse. She walked in like it was any other morning, like nothing had happened. Her mother was at the sink, washing dishes. The sponge froze, mid-motion. Her father was already waiting. He didn't speak, didn't greet, didn't even move at first. Then he pointed.
Sit.
She rolled her eyes.
What now?
Can we not do this?
But his face wasn't the same. Not the quiet, tired man she always ignored. There was something else behind his eyes. A finality, a fury forged in silence. He walked over to the shelf, pulled out the old scissors, the kind used to trim coupons and stray threads. Nothing special, nothing sharp. But that only made it worse. He set them down on the table, right beside the envelope, now almost empty, and the unopened scarf. Alina's voice cracked.
Okay, I'm sorry. I took the money. I just wanted to go for one night, okay? It's not like I didn't mean...
Her mother said nothing, eyes hollow, heart clenched behind her crossed arms. Her father stepped behind her.
Wait, no. Wait, what are you doing?
The scissors opened, cold metal, no hesitation. Alina gasped.
No, Dad. Dad, please, I'm sorry. I said I'm sorry.
She reached up to stop him, but he gently, firmly pushed her hand down.
Stop, please. I'm begging you, don't.
But it was already falling. Her long chestnut locks, the ones she styled, straightened, hid behind.
I didn't mean to hurt her. I was stupid, okay? I'm sorry.
Her voice broke. Her shoulders shook. Tears streamed down her cheeks, hot and fast.
Please, Mom, say something. Make him stop. Please, Mom. I don't want this. I don't want...
But her mother didn't move. Not even a blink. All that remained was silence. Hair on the floor like fallen leaves. And Alina, kneeling now, head bowed, sobbing into her hands. Not out of vanity. Not anymore. Out of grief. For everything she broke and couldn't take back. She stood in front of the mirror for a long time. Longer than she ever had. This was the mirror where she used to take selfies. Where she angled her head just right to catch the light on her cheekbones. Where she'd run her fingers through her long, flawless hair and smile smug, curated, untouched. Now, she barely recognized the girl staring back. What stared back was not the version of herself she'd spent years building. It was raw, uneven, real. She reached up instinctively to tuck a strand behind her ear, but there was nothing left to tuck, just the lingering feel of scissors on scalp. She blinked, then blinked again. The tears didn't fall. Not yet, because this wasn't just about the hair. It was about everything that came with it. The lies, the theft, the silence, the girl she had been trying to escape, the woman she had betrayed. She could hear them. Not clearly, just tones, exhausted, hurt, low. She pressed her forehead to the mirror, closed her eyes, and for the first time in years, she didn't feel like a victim. She felt small, not because of what they did, but because of what she had done. The room was cold, but she didn't move. She just stood there, forehead against glass, wondering if this was what shame really felt like. Not loud, not dramatic, but slow, like a heavy fog rolling in and staying.